Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with 60 and Me. Hope you're doing great today. I've got a very interesting story to share with you today that I hope inspires you. One of our sponsors is International Living, and they wrote this article for us with the help of one of their correspondents about how to explore possible retirement locations around the world by taking a cruise. How taking a luxurious cruise can help you find that dream retirement location. Now, it was written by a lady, Michelle, and her husband, who actually live in Costa Rica. And they are very happy there. They love living in Costa Rica, which is one of the destination countries that International Living talks about quite a bit. But they decided to go on a cruise and to see a part of the world that they love, not with the thought of moving from Costa Rica, but just knowing that there was a world out there in the Caribbean that they had never explored. And so they wanted to take a cruise, which would allow them to pack once and literally hop from place to place. Now, you may be considering this whole idea of what about retiring in a part of the world like the Caribbean? It could be another area, like for example Europe. But if you have a broad category of places that you might want to live, jumping on planes and going from place to place is kind of expensive, and it's also very time consuming, and it's challenging. So a cruise is not necessarily the ideal way to see a lot of places really quickly, but it's a good way. And International Living has put together a really great report. I say this with underlining great because I downloaded it myself and I found it so interesting. It's called Explore the World by Sea, How to Cruise the Globe Without Breaking the Bank. And it's really about low-cost cruising and how to use cruising as a way to see a part of the world that you might be considering retiring in. So, can a cruise help you find your dream destination? Well, as I said before, there's no way that 1 or 2 days, or 1 day really, in every port is going to give you a full experience of the place. But I've done enough cruising that I know it can do a lot to give you a sense of the essence, the vibe, as Michelle says. And I think that that's really what's important, and what this article that I'd encourage you to read is all about. It's basically saying that, you can do all the research online, you can read the books, you can go on the International Living conferences, you can do all kinds of things intellectually to read about a place. But then when you say Belize, what comes into your body? I mean, what do you feel? You have to sort of go there in order to see it. So they took a cruise, and it was a cruise of the Caribbean, and it was 8 stops and 15 days. And it actually included Costa Rica, where they live. So that was an interesting discussion. But they flew to the Dominican Republic and spent a day there. Now, this is, I've never been to Dominican Republic myself, and they also had never been there. But it's home, apparently, to many expats. And the reason, of course, is it's beautiful weather. There's fantastic beaches, and it's a multicultural vibe. Michelle was saying that they went to a cafe as part of the cruise. They got off the ship, of course, and they found it, Italian, German, United States, Canadian, all sitting at the lunch table with them. There was a big expat community. This makes a difference when you're looking at a place to retire. Are there going to be people there that speak your language, or at least it's what's easy to navigate in English, or your language is, and how to basically live there with the cost of living, finding a place to live, and so on. So Dominican Republic was definitely for them a positive experience. Then they went to Jamaica. This is the next stop on the cruise, and it's just completely different experience. I mean, it's vibrant, it's fun, it's kind of laid back, and very different environment. Music, clothes, dress, all very unique and colorful. And it was actually going to a different world. It was completely different from one day to the next. Now, as I said, you're not going to get any kind of real idea of what life in either of those places is like without spending time. But at least you get a taste. So the next day they went to Oca Rios, which is a fishing village, apparently, turned tourist center. And a lot of people like this. I mean, sometimes in retirement, you want to be around people. You want to have a small environment that's villagey, but at the same time, you want it to be dynamic and active. And they liked it there. They went to Dunn's River Falls, which is apparently a big nature reserve there. So and that's another thing about retiring in these places like in the Caribbean. There's a lot of nature-orientated activities. They're not as urban as another Panama, which is where they actually did travel to. But it's Ocarrillos. I've never been, so I'm taking Michelle's word for this, that it's just a really cool place. Then they went on and had a sea day. And of course, that on a cruise, that's always a fun day for massages and pampering and food and just relaxing. And then they got to Mexico. The Yucatan was apparently a completely amazing experience. I have a friend, Lisa, who has lived in Yucatan for 10 years, maybe more than that. But she's now moved back to Chicago, of all crazy things. But she loved it there. And Yucatan, Mexico, as you probably know more than any other place, it's more press and it's just, unique. And the beach and all the various restaurants and a collage of culture. It made it really special for them. And this report, which is Cruise Your Way to a Life Overseas or Explore the World by Sea, is really, really a cool way to get started digging deeper. And just go to internationalliving.com/60andme, and then you'll see the link to the report, or the link to get the report. You put your email address, and then they send you an email with the link, and it's free of charge. There's no obligation. International Living does sell a lot of other reports and very in-depth analysis, but this particular report is totally free of charge. Now, the next stop was Belize. Now, again, many Canadians apparently go to Belize. I didn't know this, but it's a crystal clear sky, seas, turquoise blue, very beautiful. They snorkeled and walked along the white sandy beaches. Kay Kulker, I think, is where they stopped off. They had grilled lobster. I mean, she makes a very evocative experience. But cruising in one way does this to you. Like you've got 8 hours on a place, in a town. You just dig in and you just experience it with all your senses. It's a great experience to do that. Then they went on to Rowten, which is an island annex of Honduras, and they went to Big French Key, and the water again was magnificent. And these countries have had a lot of challenges, as you know. This whole area sometimes gets hit by, weather is an issue, and that's of course something to think about. But they loved it, had a great time at Rowten. I've heard good things about Rowten. I have never been on a Caribbean cruise, but they went on to Costa Rica, and they ended up where they actually live. It's kind of a full circle, and they just took advantage of the day on ship because they knew that Costa Rican world, and they loved it. Next one was Panama. And this was the place, if you want an urban environment, this is where to go because it's the most developed of the countries in that area. It's the kind of link between Central and North America, or South and North America. And it's, it's a well-known port, lots of activity, lots of cruise ships. And that was a good experience for them. Finally, Cartagena, Colombia. Never would have thought, you never might have even gone there in your wildest dreams because of its, location and you're just not knowing much about it. But they went to Cartagena, strong Spanish colonial influence still there. And apparently the architecture was amazing, as well as the coffee. The coffee was a big highlight. And they said they went to 4 different cafes and had fun. But this is the beauty of cruising. You can do this kind of fun, relaxed exposure to new places quickly without having to get on a flight and move from place to place. Just cruise around, and you can actually at the same time enjoy new places in a concise way. So if you think this is kind of a neat idea, check out this report. It's really Cruise Your Way to a New Life. It's low budget cruising, how to find cruises in the areas that you want, how to use it in the way that Michelle and her husband used it. International Living's got all kinds of cool resources that you might want to check out, but this report is excellent. So why not try a cruise? This is 8 places, 15 days, unpack once, enjoy experiencing new places for the first time, and then think about it. Do you want to live there? Or do you want to just go have a nice time on the cruise? But anyway, the report's very, very useful. internationalliving.com/60andme. So hope that's been a fun little journey with me here with Michelle and her husband and International Living. And if you've got any questions, please leave them in the section below. There's lots of conversation that we can have here. We'd be happy to answer your questions. And again, thanks for being here and for your support. And we'll talk again soon. Take care. Bye.